Hello, and welcome to Chiron. What you see here is a Chiron machine. With this machine, you can easily manufacture metal and other materials. A high-quality machine like this works very precisely and is much faster and more powerful than manufacturing something by hand. Furthermore, there are some metals that are impossible to manufacture by hand because they are very heavy or hard. To manufacture those big or small parts, you need machines in different sizes for drilling holes, threading, and removing unwanted materials through a process called milling. Without these machining centers, there wouldn't be a lot of things you see in your daily life. For an example, the wheels on a car, or many parts that make up the engine of a car. When you see an airplane, you can be certain that it is made of parts that were manufactured on a machining center. Single parts that make the wing, for example. In addition to cars and airplanes, Chiron machines create parts for many other items and products you're probably familiar with. Chainsaws, railroad toys, mobile phones, computers, bicycles, inline skates, washing machines, even roller coasters. All of these are made of components that were manufactured on a Chiron machine. If you look closely at a watch, you'll also find many parts which have to be manufactured on a machining center first, before putting them together to assemble the completed watch. For example, the watch case, which contains numerous gears and screws. Often, these parts are so small that they aren't fully visible to the naked eye. Chiron machines are also needed in the medical industry. The dental drill, for example, is made on a machining center. In addition, there's also the precise machining of medical implants. This is something that is used to heal the body during an injury or to replace a joint that has been damaged. At Chiron, there are lots of hard-working people that think of the many different ways that a machine can manufacture a part. After creating a plan or manufacturing process, the machine is built and then delivered to a customer. There are service professionals that check the machine regularly to ensure it's operating properly, and they make repairs if needed. Because of the high quality, speed, and capabilities of Chiron machines, you can find them operating in many different industries worldwide.
Hi, my name is Dannery Manzanares, and I'm the Apprenticeship Instructor for Chiron America. I'm going to be running you guys through a tour of the facility and giving you an overview of what you guys can expect if you were to come and do an apprenticeship here at Chiron. So the first area we're going to talk about is our quality room, or CMM room, or whatever you want to call it. It is a room dedicated to quality assurance of our equipment. So we're going to go ahead and go here and kind of have a better understanding of it. Can we go ahead and turn the light on real quick? So this is our CMM room. It stands, CMMs are these two giant machines here. It stands for Coordinate Measuring Machine, and is a very high-tech, fancy machine that you can program with a computer and skills to measure parts. So measure production parts that a customer would make. We have some like fixtures set up so you can do a whole bunch of different parts. It's quite a unique experience in here, and it is something that not only will you do at the facility, but you'll also be doing at the school. So sometimes you'll be taking courses that are related to quality and quality assurance, and you can apply that knowledge directly in here whenever you guys work in here. So the apprentices do a good amount of stuff in here, ranging from loading parts, grabbing measuring tools that maybe we don't have in the apprenticeship area. They actually operate the machine. Occasionally, when a customer requires a runoff, the apprentices do a good bit of work in helping to produce and make those runoffs successful. So this room is really important to the success of our company. It's important to the success of our product selling, like our machines. So yeah, really, really cool area, and we try and get our apprentices in here as much as we can to explore and learn about it as we can. So next I'm going to go outside and we're going to talk a little bit about component rebuild. We've got to be a little careful how we film here, so we might avoid some of the actual live area because we have workers and we can't film everybody, but we'll kind of give you a brief overview of what it is. So let's get ahead. So we're going to skip over there a little bit so that we don't get anyone that doesn't want to be filmed on film. So we'll at least talk about a little bit about this area. It's our component rebuild area. So in here, apprentices have helped in the past work on some of these projects. It is an area where a customer, if they have a small issue with their equipment or their machinery, that they can come and have it individually repaired and fix them. So we kind of try and prioritize that as much as we can. What's that from that? Oh, sorry. I'm gonna put it on for now. So it's an individual area where we try and make sure that apprentices can get their hands on every once in a while, and we'll let you go through. And in this case right now, they have machines set up for spindles, they have machines set up for tool arms. It's really unique, and it's a really good way to learn the basics and fundamentals of how our equipment works. So I'm going to walk us down here to the hallway a little bit, and we're just going to cover some basics, but I do want to give a kind of disclaimer. In this case, Chiron has a transitional floor. It means that our floor kind of evolves pretty much every month, I would say. We have kind of a shift in where things are, where they're located. Machines are coming in, machines are being sold. Our main product line is this machinery, and we want to make sure that we are constantly evolving and rotating our facility. So we have customer projects here that unfortunately through NDA we can't show them, but we can at least show some machinery that is in production and will be working that's non-customer related. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and kind of point you guys in the direction of a good example of what an apprentice could actually be doing when they get through the first 2 years and move into the third year of the apprenticeship. That way. So
I'll be there with you.
Whenever they're ready. I'm going to go ahead and pass this along to Kaylee. Tom, if you don't want to be in it, that's okay.
I don't want to be in it.
It's all good then. We're going to let Kaylee have a little bit of the spotlight, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and what she's kind of working on.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kaylee, and I'm actually a third-year apprentice, and I'm in the aspect of our third-year training. You get to jump around to different departments, and right now I'm in the applications department, and a couple months ago we actually created a demo program for the customer. So I can just give you a little bit of demonstration on what we would show the customer. So actually what this represents, I learned more or less from the manual machining aspect in the apprenticeship within the first couple of years. So we make that first hole in order to let the chips escape once we cut that slot.
So Kaylee, this looks like a pretty complicated procedure. Was this something that you worked on your own, or did you have help? Can you explain how that actually works?
No, I actually had one of the mentors for the applications department, and he walked me through the whole process of how to program all of this, and also like the different types of
Cooling.
Different types of
Procedures?
Yeah, I guess procedures.
Yeah. And so in this case, is this a fairly typical way that an application engineer would kind of go about?
Well, everyone has their different strategies, but this seemed to be the best way that I learned. And of course, my mentor walked me through the process that he would best do it. So as I go along, I'll learn more on my own.
Okay. And this is what you want to do, hypothetically. After the
yes.
program is over, you'd like to be in the apps.
Yeah, hypothetically, yes. Going through the multiple departments, this is where I've always kind of wanted to do. I've always wanted to program, and then I still have the hands-on type of this.
Right, and that's, I think, kind of where the apprenticeship is pretty useful in that it allows you to go from not knowing much or anything about this area to being able to, now you can understand G code, M code, entire new languages, as well as incorporate the skills you learned in your first 2 years into this machining. Because although it's, I believe, possible to become a machinist without manual machining experience, I would say you have a leg up to people if you've gone through an apprenticeship or through your first 2 years.
Right, exactly. So you don't learn experience in college to do this. You're getting on-the-job experience, and then you're also getting an education. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate that. We appreciate your time. If you want, you can go ahead and shut the machine down, and we'll kind of continue with working our tour.
Okay.
Showcase a little bit of another area we have. It's called the apprenticeship area. And this is kind of where we have our first and second years spend a majority of their time working in a hands-on kind of environment. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm actually going to pass the camera over I'm going to actually take the camera and let a new person speak. You're going to be introduced to one of our second-year apprentices who's going to cover a little bit about this apprenticeship area, what happens here, and how it kind of all relates to the rest of the company. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on and let Frankie speak on.
So I'm Frankie Lanzero. I'm a second-year apprentice at Chiron America, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit about what we do in the first couple years of our apprenticeship and how it kind of relates to the rest of the floor. Right. So most of our apprentices, they come straight out of graduating from high school, so they don't have a whole lot of experience doing machining or filing or hands-on skills like that. So what we do in our first year is we learn all of those hard skills to get you comfortable with, different tools and different basics of assembling and moving around the floor and things like that. So what we do is we have these different projects that first and second years will do on the manual machines. So if you want to take a look at some of them, each project has different skills that are tailored to each individual one. They are designed to teach you something new. For example, this is a slide hammer, right? And so even though we make it in our year where we're not necessarily on the shop floor yet, that's something that can be applied and a tool that you will use out on the floor. So you can kind of see where those skills translate and into something useful that you will actually, put your hands on.
And so some of these look kind of, they look pretty simplistic. Some look kind of unique. Some look a little difficult to make. I kind of have a question. So what are these projects?
Right, so these are different soldering projects. So this is like a mouse bot. This is something that we typically give people that are super new and want to get a little intro into some of the things that we're going to do. Right, so it's basic soldering, different sensors, things like that. So it's just, something to get you comfortable with different electrical things.
And now this one looks incredibly complicated. Can you just explain to me when you would do something like that, or why we would do something like that?
So every summer, we select people to come to the summer pre-apprenticeship. So something like this, we spend several weeks during the summer. We train people from high school, and so it's an example of something that they managed to make over the summer. And even though it's super complicated, you have people helping you and right by your side. So even though it looks a little overwhelming, it's not something that's impossible. You have people there to help and guide you and help you learn. So it's a really good way of seeing how you work and how you work with people and how fast you can learn and pick up new things. So,
okay. So you talk about all these skills and all the things you get to learn and use. Now, can you explain to me how your machine shop works, and how do you go about learning that equipment and how it relates to the apprenticeship?
Right. So in our first and second year, majority of it we are on manual machines. So manual machines, they give you a really good basis on different things that people, in apps or wherever, that they get a good grasp of, right? So different things about machining, feed rate, speed rate, chips, how chips form, things like that. Those are the basics that you'll learn machining, for your very first time, right? So this is an example. This is our lathe, and so we do basic turning. This is a brass piece we have in the chuck right now. And that's kind of the nice thing too, is we get to play around with different materials and see how they react to, different environments.
Well, that's good. No, that's really good. So Frankie made a lot of good points, and I think she hit the nail on the head with the apprenticeship. I'm going to go ahead and pass the camera over to her so we can kind of wrap up the apprenticeship area,
and we can cover a little bit more of the floor. I think she really went well about talking about it. In general, she's right. All of the apprenticeship area is mainly focused around training and learning and just educating and growing. We also do a little bit more. We have a couple of value-added projects that we will do, actually not a couple, it's quite a few, that we will do every year, every month actually, for different departments in the company. Sometimes it's so viable to have someone outsourced that can work and fix some of the things that will go on our machines. So we actually spend a lot of time as the apprenticeship department working and fixing and getting as much done as we can for the other departments. So we're doing a lot of value-added work, which is also nice. Benefits the company and it benefits us because we can get a whole bunch of new opportunities and learn. So we are just in the final wraps of wrapping up one of these projects over here. So we're kind of going to walk around and skip a little bit of it, and I'm not going to show you too much, unfortunately, we just can't. But we can at least explain that it's just 2 large machines over there that are getting ready to get shipped to a customer in a giant cell with automation, robotics. It's got a whole bunch of different really complex and unique experiences. So really good project that we get to work on, and you know, we're happy to see it go out of the door. So we're gonna go ahead and move over to the rest of the shop floor and cover some of these other machine types and just explain where our apprentices could kind of be put and picked into place to fit depending on if you go into either our machinist track or into our mechatronics track. So we're actually going to skip into one of these little alleyways, and we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of projects we have here. Actually, going down this way. So right here we actually have 2 twin or sister machines that a customer has bought. They'll be doing very similar, if not exactly the same procedures for, you know, large production. They are both going to be fully integrated with a robotic arm. In this case, it's already integrated. They just need to do all the programming and wiring. So you won't even have a human operating this machine. It's going to be entirely robotic, so that there's less room for error. They can be more fast, more efficient. You know, it's just a nice new way that manufacturers are going about getting their products out in a more efficient thing. It also helps make the cost cheaper because they don't have to spend as much on labor in the long run. So these are really 2 good machines. They're going to be catered, I think, to medical customers. So yeah, and this is an area where an apprentice could actually find themselves, whether it be working on the machine geometry, making sure the machine is set up correctly, doing programming, doing even robotic programming, or you've had apprentices go into that to a degree before. And if you major in mechatronics, you have the ability to kind of help even just set up some of the automation stuff, or being a mechanic or an electrician. So there's, you know, it's a unique experience that you can have regardless of what it may be. And this just provides a really good opportunity, our customers' machines, to get real world experience, and you'll kind of start that in your 2nd year towards the end of it. So we're going to kind of segue over, and we're going to cover one of our unique machines that we have here. We have 2 that are specific to it, but they are called Stama machines. So Stama is a sister company to us here at Chiron America. We are the American headquarters for the Chiron group. Stama being part of the Chiron group. So we actually cater to their machines and their customers as well. They're just like ours here in the North American market. Well, North America being Mexico and Canada as well, is what I meant by that. So Stama machine, very unique build, but it is similar to Chiron in a lot of ways. It's more of our heavy duty line, and it's what we use to cater a lot to our automotive customers who have really high demand, heavy duty parts that maybe the Chiron machines aren't well suited for. We even offer more baseline and more product line for them in that matter. Apprentices will of course have to learn how to handle not only Chiron but Stama products as well, just because that is part of what our responsibility in North America is to do. But it's nice, and you really get to see the differences. You get to see all kinds of unique product lines, and it's really challenging. Every day is a little bit different, and it makes it that much more enjoyable to be able to come here and, you know, have a unique experience each day. So we're going to go ahead and walk down the line, and again, we have to kind of skip over some of these machines because there's just a little bit of privacy we have to maintain for our customers, but we'll try and do our best to ensure that we're showing you as much as we can. So next, I'm going to talk about a little area that we have where Actually, if you go into our machinist track or our applications track, you'll be working it very, very heavily. We can actually just kind of peek through the window here and I can cover a little bit about it. This is our applications crib, applications tool room, whatever you want to call it. It's where we house all of our application engineers, tooling, fixturing, mounting for tooling, measuring instrumentation, all kinds of unique and specific tools catered to the machinists, catered to being able to coordinate projects very easily and very seamlessly whenever we get them. We already have stuff kind of on hand. In this case, this is a really good demonstration of a machine. It's actually identical to the one that we saw Kaylee on earlier. The only difference being this is a stock machine. It's not been sold, it's not been set up, it hasn't done anything yet. But this is how a machine will actually kind of come in. So in this case, these happen to be one of our larger machines. A Mill 2000 is what we call them, and they're catered more to the large automotive industry or in the aerospace. So aerospace making plane components, any part that a plane could go on. You can't have a small machine. Most parts are pretty large. So in this case, we have machines catered to big, small, and however many sizes in between. So we have a very large product line. If we go down here, we're going to show you the showroom. And before we do that, I'm just going to quickly cover one more machine that I can explain. Again, just where apprentices can kind of get involved. Because one room I had mentioned was a quality room, but we have two sides to quality. We have our quality assurance. We also have quality inspection. So our machines need to also be fully quality assured and quality inspected. In this case, a machine like this, it's a 5-axis machine, so it's very complicated and technical. It's a lot of moving parts in there. Our apprentices will a lot of times help to perform machine geometry, that is setting everything up so it's nice and straight and parallel and perpendicular. And I know all those words might sound a little bit a little bit harsh in the sense of when you took math in high school, but they're very important to our machines, and in a lot of ways our customers pay to have those values be very accurate. So apprentices can spend a lot of time learning about machine geometry and how to make it as perfect as possibly and physically possible. So yeah, this is a really good example of a machine that the geometry is pretty complicated. It's a medical machine, so they're cutting parts for bones, they're cutting hip replacement parts, knee replacement parts, parts that are very accurate. They're going in a human body, they have to be precise, so the equipment that is used to make them also has to be pretty precise. Those will go in a clean facility. They'll be, people will be wearing hazmat suits to a degree, and it's quite a different environment for the medical industry. So the last area we're going to show you is our showroom. Our showroom is where we show off our machines. So these are mostly top of the line, brand new machinery, ranging from, we have a brand new Stama here. Chiron and Stama in general kind of are similar in the sense that we both use this two-headed system, so you can make twice the parts as fast as possible. That's kind of where our competition doesn't really compete with us in that market. We kind of have a really good threshold on the more than one at a time machining. And Stama was really our biggest competitor, and now they're part of our group, so we really don't have any big competition in that market. So a brand new Stama machine. Here we have one of our actual newest line from Chiron. It's called a 16 series machine. It's a large, robust machine. Again, just super fast, super heavy duty. We need customers all the time are demanding stronger, faster machines, so we're constantly improving our equipment line and trying to make it as good as possible. We'll quickly run through the last three, and then I will summarize everything before I wrap up. So, in this case, sometimes the showroom machines actually can get used for a test cut. A customer will actually want to do, like a car, you can test drive a car before you buy it. Well, with a machine, you can kind of test drive it before you buy it. So a customer can actually request to have a machine cut a part that they may want to produce in the future. We have programmers dedicated to doing that. We'll prove it out and show them how it worked on our machine. If they like how it works, then they can actually buy the machine. And if they, want revisions, then we can work to make revisions. So this is an example of a machine, or one of our machines that we do a lot of test cuts on. Just, customers requesting to see what they can do. The control is pretty advanced sometimes. So this is one of the newest controls. It's a nice touchscreen. You need FANUC control, so that's where the expertise of high school students who are really versed in computers and touchscreen phones and all this kind of stuff, it really works well for you and works well for us in general. Through the apprenticeship program, you get, you'd be surprised how much you already have been exposed to and know beforehand, before you even get into a real working environment. And of course, the last one being another one of the machines I showed you previously as a Chiron machine. So if you look around our facility, it's a fairly clean environment. Manufacturing in general is not what it really used to be, and so we work in an advanced manufacturing environment, which is nice and clean. We try and stay clean here. We try and stay friendly. People really try and make sure that you come here and are wanting to enjoy your day as much as possible. So the idea is to, try and maintain that. Chiron in general has a lot of investment in apprenticeship. Our parent company in Germany has about 95 apprentices through their 4 years. We're currently sitting at 6 apprentices, having graduated 6 already. So, we are trying to continue developing our apprenticeship, and we look forward to continuing that development in the future. We really look forward to hearing from you guys more whenever the time comes for orientation to start. And of course, if you have any more questions or comments or would like to see more, well, in this case, Chiron will be making a sectional video where you can see some more parts of Chiron as a company and a history and our customers. And then additionally on Saturday for the open house, you'll get to see more and talk to me, and hopefully we can resolve any questions you may have. So thank you very much, and I hope to hear from all of you very soon.